Okay, cool. Very good pronunciation on the name. My name is Dinkelmeyer. I'm going to give a brief introduction. I had the opportunity to be at every single stable summit since inception. I'm super thrilled to speak today. To me, the stable summit has always been a builder summit where you showcase ideas, and this is going to be a very raw talk to do exactly that. So I'm going to talk about 3 things we've been working on. They're completely unannounced. This is the first time you'll ever hear them, and it's going to be a raw conversation about those. So briefly about ourselves, very raw indeed, with the slides not working. Yeah, here we go. This is an introduction of ourselves, the founding team of Midas. I think Roman is just here in the room with me. A couple of numbers. We're nearing 200 million TVL with no incentives, no governance tokens, no nothing, no marketing. I haven't even tweeted in 3 months, which is very unusual. So it begs the questions, how have you done this and what are we doing? We really focus on building a high quality product. So we focus on product market fit and really focus on very strong value proposition. So all of our products, so we are, for an introduction, briefly on a high level sense, we're an asset tokenizer. We tokenize assets. We started out tokenizing T-bills, we added a basis trade, and over time we've added actively managed certificates that are basically active managed yield strategies where we partner with MEV Capital, RE7 Capital, and Edge Capital, and others, where they effectively actively manage these strategies and we're tokenizing them. So they effectively give you exposure on yield, and we have done this under a regulatory compliant framework. So this is something I would say quite differentiated. They are effectively regulated and have a clear framework. Second thing, and this is very important to users, is that all of them have atomic liquidity, and that's something actually really hard to achieve. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Atomic liquidity is required because in order to be composable, in order to have use cases on Pendle, on Morpho, on Euler, you need to have a redemption pathway that's atomic, and it's also capital efficient. We'll talk about this in a minute. And the final thing is, I run a tokenization business, and I always joke that I'm very bearish in tokenization. This is, in my view, you need to have composability, you need to have a use case. Just tokenizing a JPMorgan money market fund without a use case is no better. In fact, it's worse than TradFi, because actually you have better bankruptcy protection, all of these things, when you work directly with JPMorgan instead of working with a small crypto company. Now, in this sense, we really focus on tokenization and bring tokenization use cases. To outline this, I give you the sort of full, I call it total composability, and talk through the entire life cycle of this. So in this instance here, we've partnered with Edge Capital. This is a fund. They focus on finding the best risk-adjusted returns at any point in time. They're really doing this day in, day out. We step in and we tokenize one of the strategies. It becomes an actively managed certificate that we call MH. This token is a permissionless ERC20 token. It's fully composable in our regulatory compliant framework. And that is, in this instance, and we're very proud of this specific use cases, has gone to Pendle, and you can LP it on Pendle or with any other platform, for example, Spectra and otherwise. And you can speculate on the yield appreciation, for example, the YT token and the PT token. You can get additional incentives, and this PT token ultimately made it back to Morpho via a gauntlet created vault. This is just an example of what we're building on, but actually I'm very proud of this one specifically because it outlines the full scope of tokenization and composability. In DeFi, there's the borrow lend loop case. It's a very popular one, but as interest rate speculation, that's really one that we have achieved. We're very happy to have done this with all of our tokens. So MEV, Edge, and others, we've tokenized active managed certificates, and they're fully composable in DeFi. Now, the first thing, and just in practice to see how this works, MEV is one of our best performing tokens. We've launched it just a few months ago. It has nearly 60 million TVL. The return is very attractive, around 10%. Analyzed returns, net of all fees, with atomic liquidity. So it's actually, when I think about this product, it's a very strong value proposition, especially when you consider you get the Pendle LP yield, you get other yield on top of it if you utilize these composability use cases. And when we talk about composability and why it matters, it really matters to users. You get 10% on this token, and you go to a Morpho market and you borrow 6% USDC against it. All of a sudden, your return on equity, instead of holding for 10%, goes to 15, 20, 30%. And this is really why we double down on tokenization and composability so much. Now, the first product, and this is the world first, it's a very raw slide that we like to introduce, is this concept of staked liquidity. When you build liquidity on stablecoins or other instruments, it becomes very, very costly to build DEX liquidity. It's such a hard challenge for people to do. Now, what we have done is that we have built on the existing infrastructure of some of the tokenized T-bill instruments. For example, we have a product called T-bill that's backed by some of the instruments like Superstate and Pendle and others that have atomic liquidity. And these are fantastic products because you earn 4.5%, 4%, and you get atomic liquidity drawing from a contract hold. This is actually a really strong use case when I compare it to traditional finance because it's sort of 24/7. Now, when we build our infrastructure, we have effectively one central pool that sits in tokenized money market funds, earns 4%, and any redemption call coming from any of these tokens that we issue is supported by this pool of capital. And this is what we call stake liquidity. You deploy in this liquidity pool, you stake liquidity, you earn the risk-free rate, and then when redemptions happen, they're settled from this pool. And this is actually an interesting concept because instead of scattering liquidity of 5 different tokens on DEXs, you effectively have one place where the liquidity centralizes, doesn't fragment, and it turns over. All of our tokens have a redemption fee, which users hate, but that's something we have to do. When you trade an asset on a DEX, you effectively pay slippage. And in this case, it's around 50 bips. We hope to get this down to 25, 20 bips in other instances in the future. But what we're doing here is this redemption fee goes back to the atomic redemption pool, the stake liquidity pool, and you effectively earn that redemption fee. So you provide capital, you earn the risk-free rate on T-bills. In addition, you earn the redemption fee. And that's a novel concept. We have done this with our own private capital over the last few months with our existing tokens. The strategy alone returned around 30% IRR, or analyzed APYs, whatever you want to call them. It's a very interesting product. This product sits in T-bills, 4%, plus all of the redemption fees from it, generating 30% risk-adjusted returns because they sit in T-bills. It's a very interesting product. Over time, we bring this product to DeFi too, and we obviously scale this as all of our other products scale in the future. So the more redemptions you have, the more asset turnover you have. Effectively, this all centralizes in one construct. This is the world's first. We've not really formatted the slide properly. If I have more time, I don't know, but about the speaker, I can cut it off here. I can continue talking because the time is 0. I guess I'll continue. 2 words. We'll be announcing a tokenized private credit fund later today. As mentioned, we are a tokenizer. We obsess about tokenization use cases. And private credit is an asset that's uncorrelated from crypto yield. So you have productive use, receivables, working capital from real companies. And we've partnered up with Vasanara Capital, one of the leading asset managers in this space, in actually a very special product. This product is an all-weather strategy that allocates to the private credit receivable side in a bear market and switches to basis trading market making with leverage in a bull market. So it's an interesting product that effectively resembles an all-weather strategy. This is only for accredited institutional investors with higher tickets, but we've launched this product and we're announcing it today actually in a minute more formally. And this is already supported in some of the largest MOFA vaults. We've partnered very closely with Stakehouse Financials and really thank them for their time and attention over the last few months. And we'll share more this in the future. And then the final thing we've been working on, we've actually not shared this publicly yet. We've really just been grinding this in the background. We have all of the infrastructure we've built. We've white labeled this and services to third parties. So we found a lot of use cases where we effectively provide our infrastructure to third parties that they can effectively benefit from the same composability use cases. So there's a lot of learnings we've made. For example, the atomic liquidity, how it acts in third parties, and effectively we've become a tokenized vault provider. And they have the same features as all of our products. They have atomic liquidity, they have a regulatory framework. And also, they have, I think, a very interesting construct that we've learned is that actually they have an extremely strong combination of security, basically because we work with existing MPC infrastructure solution for DeFi and Fireblocks, but also versatility. And this is something we've been very focused on. We're very proud of the momentum. So just one vault we've launched with Hyperbeat just a few months ago has over 30 million in traction. We've done this together in collaboration with MEV Capital, who have been an absolutely fantastic strategist. We also will be launching the terminal pre-deposit campaign. We're very proud of the team and the work we're doing together. And finally, we've also done a migration with Miso. This has been a very raw talk. This is the first time we're announcing these things, so apologies, the slides have not been perfectly formatted. We just made them this morning, but hit me up and on Telegram, and we'd love to chat. Thank you.